lay tracks, outbid rivals, and steamroll your way to choo tycoon glory in Meiji-era Japan's rail-fueled revolution in Railway Boom.
And today we'll be teaching you how to play Railway Boom, game designed by Hisashi Hayashi, developed by Simone Luciani, published by Arclight Games, and co-distributed by Cranio Creations.
And hi everyone, it's Stella.
And Tarrant, welcome to Meeple University.
And hey, if you enjoyed this video after watching, like, subscribe, and comments. You know what to do. Right, now let's get to the classroom.
In Railway Boom, players are railway investors trying to make the highest scoring rail company they can in Japan. It's a competitive market, and over 4 rounds of play, players will compete in auctions, trying to earn the right to build the best locomotives and carriages, gain station rights in the best cities, develop the best technologies, and ultimately operate the most profitable network. Link the high-value routes, and jostle for the best points on the objectives to be the winner. To set up, lay out the board, and if you'd like, you can randomize the bonuses on all of the cities and tourist cities by placing these tiles. But that's optional, you can feel free to use what's pre-printed. In these slots to the left of the board, lay out 4 of the 7 route cards. These show some bonus points you can gain by joining 2 cities. In the slots to the right, lay out 4 of the 18 objective cards. Each of these provides a way of scoring at the end of the game, but how many points you'll gain for the objective is going to depend on where you end up placing your cube on this card. Looking in advance at the routes and objectives and forming your strategy around them is key to success in the game. Each player takes a player board and all of the matching coloured pieces, which include 4 stations, a pile of railways, and a pile of cubes used for various markers, including 4 at the top of your board next to your stations, and 1 on each of these tracks at its starting location represented by the dot. These 2 pieces and a cube begin on the main board, with victory points set at 0 on the 50s and 1s, and the auction marker placed face up in this area for now. Shuffle and place the decks of the various types of cards which you'll be bidding for in the auctions. These are the locomotives, carriages, stations, and developments. Each player draws a station card, and from highest to lowest number on that station, place the auction discs from right to left on this track. Remove these station cards from the game, players will know from the start that they will never be drawn for an auction. Below the auction markers, place the relevant token for your player count. Keep the supply of different resource tiles nearby ready for use. Give each player their own colour of starting locomotive card, and you're now ready to play. Railway Boom plays over 4 rounds, and each round plays in a total of 6 phases, going from left to right across the board. First is the train phase. New locomotives and carriages will be revealed, players will auction and then draft those cards. Second is the expansion phase. New stations will be revealed and players will have an auction before drafting a station which they can both claim on the board and use as a base to expand their railway. Third is development. Development cards representing various new technologies and business opportunities are revealed. There'll be another auction for turn order, and then players will gain and use those cards. Fourth is income, where players will gain new resources. Fifth is operations, in which players will run their trains and carriages to gain rewards. And sixth is objectives, where there'll be another turn order auction to determine who gets the highest and lowest scoring slots on the 4 endgame objective cards. The game has 4 different types of resources: building materials, money, technology, and coal. There are also victory points represented by this icon. These resources can appear in 3 different ways, and it's important you understand the distinction. On the right-hand side of the board, you'll track the resources that you currently hold. So right now I have 8 building materials, 8 money, 8 tech, and 8 coal. There is no limit to the amount of any of these resources you can hold. If you ever go above 10, just bring in another cube to keep tracking. If you go above 20, add another cube to the side, and so on. There is no limit. Think of all of these as resources in your warehouse. The icon for one of these shows the resource in a warehouse, and you'll spend down on these tracks to pay the cost of any action you take. At any time, you can spend 2 resources, matching or non-matching, from your warehouse to gain 1 resource of another type. The left-hand side of your board tracks your income of the 4 resources and victory points, and income is represented by the hand underneath the icon. Moving up on these tracks increases your income during the income phase of a round, and moving a cube into a space which has a benefit underneath it allows you to immediately gain that benefit. Each box has 2 numbers, the income, which is the larger number in the white box, and the income level, which is the smaller one in the dark box. The income you gain is the white box number, so here I'd be gaining 3 coal and no victory points in income, while the income level is generally the number which is referenced by other game components like objectives. The third way you'll see these resources is on resource tiles, and there's one for each of the 5, including victory points. A resource tile is represented by the resource on a train cart like so. You can think of these as the goods being transported by your trains. You'll gain these to your supply, and you'll be able to load them onto your trains during the operation phase, hopefully to unlock some other benefits. We'll see some more about how to use and manipulate these a little bit later on. But what's most important to know for now and throughout the game is the difference between these 3 icons. Resources in your warehouse, resources that you gain as income, and resource tiles. This multicolored circle is a wild resource of the 4 tangible types, but not victory points. The red number is to spend and the green number is to gain. So, now that we've learnt about our resources, let's learn how the auctions work.
Since there will be 4 auctions in each round of the game.
In each of Railway Boom's 4 auctions, you'll be fighting against each other to determine the turn order in which you'll be drafting the cards from that round. Though different cards offer different paths to victory, the reality is that some cards are just outright better than other cards, and so having the chance to take first is beneficial. Anytime there's an auction, you'll be bidding and paying in a certain type of resources. So here it's materials, here it's money, here it's tech, and here it varies depending on the card you're bidding on. An auction takes place in turns, and at any given time the player who takes a turn is whosever marker is furthest backwards on this track. When it's your turn, you have 2 options, either bid or pass. To bid, move your marker forward to any empty space of your choice. This is the amount of that resource which you intend to pay if you win the bid, and you must be holding at least that amount of the relevant resource to place the bid. Be clear, you must be holding that resource. Right now I could not bid 8 materials, but I could make an exchange right now to get the 8th material I'd need to make a bid of 8. Your new bid does not have to be the highest bid. You're bidding for each position in turn order, and you have the right to bid into any empty slot. Since it's always furthest back on the track who makes a bid, you may end up taking multiple bids between another player's single bids. If you don't wish to bid higher, then on your turn you pass. Flip over your marker. Once all players have passed, this auction is over. Now make payments as shown here in this icon. Here, the first and second players have filled circles, and this means they must pay their entire bids. Here green would pay 8, blue would pay 6. Third place pays half the bid, rounded up. So in this case, white would have to pay 2. For the empty circle, fourth place pays none of their bid. In the 3-player game, the bid payments are full, half and nothing, and in the two-player game it's simply full and nothing. Slide all markers back to the left in that order. This now sets from right to left the turn order in which you'll do the draft for this round, as well as setting the starting bid order for next time there's an auction. You are within your right to bid 0 in any given auction, and if multiple players bid 0, then you'll still slide the tokens from right to left, meaning you'll retain your relative order from the previous auction.
Sold to the gentleman in the blue Meeple shirt. So that's how to bid.
Now let's learn what we're bidding on. Phase 1 is the train phase, and here you'll be bidding on the right to take locomotives and carriages. Draw from the deck a number of locomotives equal to the number of players, and a number of carriages as shown here. This will be 2 more than the player count. Lay all of the drawn cards face up. Resolve the auction using building materials, and then each player in the new turn order will take a single turn to draft 1 locomotive and up to 2 carriages. You will always take exactly 1 locomotive, and taking it is always free. You may take 0, 1 or 2 of the available carriages, and you must pay the amount of building materials shown in the top corner of each carriage you build. This means players later in turn order will still always get a locomotive, but may have only 1 or even 0 carriages available for purchase. Keep your locomotives and carriages face up near your player board. You'll do nothing else with them until the operation phase. The second phase is expansion, and this is how you expand your network on the map. You'll begin by drawing a number of station cards equal to the number of players, placing them face up, and then for the ease of visibility, placing one of these orange markers onto each of the stations available. These will always be orange regular cities, never red tourist cities. Perform the auction using money as the resource, and then in the new turn order, each player gets to choose one of these stations and do all of their expansion actions on the board before the next player takes their turn. For this, take the next station from the top of your board, place it for free into the city that you've claimed, and for each of the 1 or 2 resources at the bottom of the city, increase your income by 1. Then place trains. You have an amount of power to spend on placing trains based on the number on the city you've just placed. So here it's 9. And you can increase further by spending money at 1 power per money. So here if I spent 4 money, I would add 4 power to the 9 for 13. Each new railway piece you place must be placed adjacent to one of your existing stations or railways, and costs power equal to the number showing at the bottom of the hex, plus 1 for each piece belonging to another player in that hex. So this cost 2 power, whereas placing this piece would cost 5, 4 plus 1 for this train. If you build in a tourist city, then immediately gain the benefit on that city. Here it's 4 points. If you build in a regular city, then gain a resource tile matching each of the resources showing at the bottom of that city. So building in Maebashi gives me 1 resource tile for money. Building railway in Nikko would give me 2 resource tiles in coal. Keep resource tiles with your trains until the operation phase. Use these icons to keep very clear about what these benefits are. You place the station on the city and gain income from it. And then when you build tracks onto cities, you gain resource tiles from it. You cannot build track where you already have a station. In later rounds, it's possible that you'll take a station where you already have track, and in that case, replace the track with your station. And instead of gaining income from the resources of that city, you gain a single income of your choice, whether it was a single or double resource city. Finally, if during your turn you complete a continuous link of your trains between two cities showing on one of the route cards, then mark the highest scoring remaining space on that card with one of your cubes and score the points immediately. The third phase is development, and to begin this, you'll draw sets of 3 development cards equal to the number of players. Separately lay each set face up, and within each set, rearrange the cards from left to right with the lowest cost to the highest cost. If there's a tie, just pick any order, it doesn't matter. Perform the turn order auction with technology as the resource. And then in the new turn order, each player takes a turn to do the following 3 steps. Firstly, choose one of the sets of 3 development cards. Secondly, choose and gain one of the equal lowest cost cards in that set for free. And thirdly, buy 0, 1 or 2 of the remaining 2 cards by paying the technology costs showing in the bottom right. Discard any cards you choose not to get. So here I could take this one for free, buy this one for 2 technology, and discard this one from the game. When you gain an orange immediate card, gain its benefit right away and then flip it face down. When you gain a green infinite card, apply its permanent passive ability from this point forward. Here, for example, every time I built on a dark blue inlet space, I'd gain 2 points. For a blue once per round card, keep it face up, and as a free action at any time, you can rotate one of these sideways to resolve its effect. Here, for example, it's paying any 2 resources to gain a victory point income. These are once per round, and you'll get them back at the end of each round. And that's how we build up our companies.
Now, let's learn how to operate them.
Phase 4 of each round is income. And simultaneously, each player gains resources in their warehouse and victory points based on their incomes. Remember again, it's the large number, not the small dark one, which is how many resources you get. Here I'm gaining 3 materials, 3 money, 2 tech, 3 coal, and 2 victory points. Then step 5 is to operate your trains. You've been collecting locomotives, carriages, resource tiles, and coal in your warehouse, and now you're going to put those together to operate as many complete trains as you wish. A single train comprises 1 locomotive and as many carriages as you wish to haul behind it. This can include 0 carriages. A locomotive can drive by itself. You do not have to run all of your locomotives and carriages each round, and you get to split all the trains up at the end of each round, meaning that your combination of locomotives and carriages can be completely rebuilt from round to round. During this phase, you may move resource tiles from your supply onto locomotives or carriages up to the printed capacity. When you do this, this will be a permanent assignment. Those tokens will always be on that specific card for the rest of the game. And so you'll want to be sure that you're making sensible decisions for the long term when you choose to place them or even hold them back. Now run each of your trains. Run the trains in any order, but within a train you must run from the locomotive in order backwards through the carriages. To run any given card, first pay coal based on the coal cost for that card. Then resolve the benefit on that card. For a card that's carrying resource tiles, the benefit is to gain each resource on those tiles to your warehouse. So for this card, I would gain 2 technology and 2 victory points at the cost of my 1 coal. For this carriage, I would pay 3 coal and gain 7 victory points. Here I'd pay 2 coal to gain 1 building materials. And here I would pay 2 coal for 2 victory points, and for each of my technology resource tiles on the train, meaning on the entire train from front to back, I would gain 1 technology for my warehouse. I'd finish by running this single locomotive, which costs me no coal and gives me 1 money to my warehouse. Be clear, you resolve from front to back. You don't necessarily have to have enough coal at the start of a resolution to resolve the entire train, as long as you do ultimately have enough coal to pay a card's cost before resolving its effect. Here I'd pay a coal to gain a coal, then pay 2 coal to gain 2 points and 2 tech. And now I have only 1 coal left. I will have to use the exchange ability to gain the coal I need before resolving this card. Otherwise, I can't connect the card at all and therefore can't use its resource tiles for the other carriages. The final step of each round is objectives. You'll do an auction for turn order, and the resource you'll be bidding in is the resource showing on this round's objective card. A few of these show the wild icon, so for these you can bid in any combination of resources. Players place cubes on these tracks from top to bottom in the new turn order after the auction. This locks in how many points each player will score for that objective at the end of the game. Players now reset their once per round development cards and move on to the next round.
Now my railway empire is complete.
So let's learn about final scoring. Once the 4th round is complete, you'll proceed to final scoring. In addition to the points you've gained through the game, gain 1 point for every 2 total resources left in your warehouse. Gain 2 points for each hex in the largest contiguous cluster of hexes with your pieces. And score each of the 4 end-of-game objectives based on the end-game board state. The player with the highest score wins. If tied, whoever has collected the most total resource tiles, whether they're on trains or not, breaks the tie. And if still tied, whoever was furthest to the right on the final auction wins.
Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, maybe you'd like to watch this next one. Have a great day, bye!